Hello everybody, welcome to a rapid speedrun game against Soats9, rated 1707. He plays e6, so maybe a French. We're gonna go f4, throwing him off. He'll still probably go for French unless he does another different setup. I don't know why he's thinking, but okay. e6 and g6, permanently weakening the dark square complex for no reason, so we don't mind. Because he's playing weird and passive, I'm just gonna take the whole center. Now that I have 3 pawns, okay, now he pushes. And now we're going to push past, permanently gaining the space. And f6 is a lot worse to undermine because you played g6, so lots of weaknesses. He goes for c5. We're going to try to maintain our pawn structure. So this is just a weird French because it has g6 included early for no reason. Okay, he makes another pawn move. We want to develop now that we have our beautiful pawn center. Let's go knight out and just cover our king. We can go knight out here to their favorite squares. And I'd rather be white. He makes more pawn moves. I mean, I don't know why, but I don't mind because they're slow. So I'm going to keep developing towards the center. Maybe I can sack at some point towards the weakened king. Because where are his pieces going? So he develops a knight, a little pressure to the center, no big deal. We castle the safety, and we're have great development compared to this guy. He develops the queen, adds another layer of attack towards this guy, no problem. So we have options. Whenever they put their queen there, you always can play a move like knight a4, which is not a bad move. Now, if we go here, and he takes this pawn, right? Can we go knight a4 and trap the queen in a way? It's interesting. Not strictly necessary though. Here, 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 here. So if I move my king and let him take this pawn, and then I attack the knight twice, and then he goes here to defend it. I don't have knight a4 because of his bishop. But do I have knight retreat, hitting it a third time? Well, now if he takes a piece, his queen is covered. So maybe that doesn't work. It was an interesting idea, though, to sack a pawn. So, knight here first. Okay, let's just go knight to the side. It's a standard response on queen b6. I was just looking for alternatives. Okay, he tucks himself in the cubbyhole to try to keep pressure, but that unleashes the pressure on the b pawn, allowing us to go bishop e3 if we want. And that looks reasonable, so let's do it. Before, if you did it, he could take this pawn and you have to calculate some stuff. Now we don't have to calculate it. The queen defends this knight, so even though it looks awkward, it's defended and it can hop to this square in the future. Rook can go to c1 and we just play a French position. Okay, he's going to go here and try to add more pressure to this. We could play g4 since he can't access that side of the board. Our king's not vulnerable over there, just to prevent his knight development, which is annoying for him. For one turn, it also blocks this, so now we can get in here quickly, which is interesting. I kind of like it, because if we take his knight, we now have that square for our knight. Not so bad. You could just develop a rook. You could play g4. Do we want to play g4 now? Maybe. g4 or knight c5. Where does his knight go, actually? Maybe this guy wants to go here next turn if I go g4. Hitting our bishop. We still go knight c5. There's also a3. I'm going to just go knight c5, get my knight back towards the center. He does go here. I'm going to snap that off the board. Give that space to my knight. And my bishop was blocked, right? He set up a specific pawn chain to block the light squares. So my bishop wasn't really going anywhere. Okay, he takes with the g pawn. Maybe he thinks his king is safe in the center with the way everything is, but he seriously lacks space. You could always get his bishop, but I say let's see if we can control c5. So a3, b4. If he ever kicks the knight, do we want to trade or do we want to go back? I mean, you would be trading his supposed bad bishop, although it's fine here because it's not locked in. So, we could develop our queen, but I'm going to go a3. I clearly have trying to set up a bind on the dark squares, so I'm just going to continue with that. It prevents his pieces from jumping forward, and the queen developing move. Okay, so he does kick the knight. Weakens the c file, so now our rook on the c file is stronger. And maybe we can lure his king forward towards that. We could also go back. Then maybe his knight tries to get to c4. So let's lure his king forward, ruin his castling, and get the turn back. Now rook to the c file makes a lot of sense. Queen development makes some sense. b4 makes some sense. Okay, let's go b4. That way when we go queen b3, it's behind the pawn, not blocking it. And we can just double up our rooks and push through on the queen side using the c file and the c5 square. So he gives up the square entirely. Wow. So if we could get a knight here, that would be great. Takes 3 turns. He's pressuring this. Let's develop a new piece. And see what he does. He has to move his bishop once to get his rook in the game. He has this long-term h6 weakness in an endgame because it's by itself. And he has less space. So he goes here, which doesn't create a threat. And we're just going to lift our rook so we can double this way. The most efficient way to double without messing with our queen. Okay, he takes the file, we take the file, and you can see our pieces are nicely placed. Okay, he just prepares doubling. And now we want to get our knight here if we can. So if we go this way, we temporarily block our pawn, but his rook is loose. So if he takes this guy, we take with check. So we have one turn to remaneuver it to b3, which defends and hops it in. So this is the perfect moment now that he disconnected his rooks to go here and not hang the pawn because we block our queen. So he goes there, but this is just in time to go here, re-protecting 3 times and threatening this killer blow. Because his knight would love to plant itself on c4. That would be so annoying, right? We would love to plant our knight on c5 because that would be so annoying. So he's going to feel forced to take with his bishop. Okay, he retreats his rook, his knight. So if you take his rooks, you take, he takes, you take, he takes, you go, he takes, you get a passed pawn. Okay, if you just hop the knight in there first and he takes, and you take with the rook and he takes and you take and he takes, it's kind of the exact same thing. Do we have anything else? If you put a rook here and sack it, normally you could do that and leave a knight here if he didn't have a knight to contest you. So let's go with just the obvious check. He trades everything like a typical French player who only plays to draw. So now we have a connected passed pawn and we're threatening to win the game. He blockades it. Fine. And for the time being, we could just hold the bind. We'll just physically obstruct his d pawn from moving, and we'll see what kind of progress we can make in the meantime. Okay, he's going to try to reroute his queen. Let's move our king to try to defend the bishop. Get it to d3. He goes here, as expected. We just protect everything. We have dark square blockade. He's clearly not trying to win the game, as French players normally don't. They just try to block everything. So this is a queen trade. Again, he's trying to kill the game. Per the usual. I don't really mind though. King and pawn endgame. We'll try to outplay him. So now our bishop's hanging. So let's go to a square that dominates the knight and try to provoke him to get in this one move threat that disconnects his pawns. And then we can attack it with our king. So we're trying to purposely get him to do that. We're also stopping a5 pawn break. And okay, let's see if he can fully blockade the entire position to no end. Okay, he moves his king. We're going to try to get our king in. We'll go for a pawn break. Of course, he doesn't take. So we're going to take. We can't go in this way. So there's really nothing. No way to get in. Nothing really to do. I guess our other pawn break would be here, to which he also doesn't have to respond, but we'll go for it anyway because what else? Okay, he wants to come in. We'll just stop that. Just loses him the game maybe, although maybe he still could just blockade and not do anything. If he takes our bishop, he loses, but he doesn't have to take our bishop. So this is just a draw. The guy played boring. What are you going to do? But notice, guys, you don't get better at chess through draws. Your rating doesn't go up through draws. So it's easy to kill a game. But that's not the point of chess, right? So he goes back. We just have to repeat. There's nothing to do. And he tries, like, come on, guy. Really? Like, what are you playing for? He doesn't want to draw now. So he played for a draw the entire game, and now all of a sudden he's like, actually. Okay, so like I said, if he disconnects the pawn, we're just going to attack it with our king and then take it. If he takes our bishop, he loses, but he doesn't have to take our bishop. Like, if you wanted to play for a win from the start, You shouldn't have traded all the pieces, traded the queens, locked up the entire position. Started with the French, right? Like, what are you doing? Um, Maybe we pawn sack to get access with our king. Huh. Is he in some type of zigzag? So if I just make a bishop move, I guess he can go back. And we have nothing. So maybe our only shot is to push while we have the chance. He's going to take. Then we move our bishop out of the way. And then maybe there he's in zigzag. Because if he moves his knight, we get in with the king. All right, let's go for it. I don't want to draw this guy. He plays terrible chess. He doesn't take. He goes here. Awkward. So I need to get my king in. If I go here and he takes and I push, no, not yet. So let me move this out of the way to make room for my king. And he'll find a way to mess this up probably at this point. Based on the moves he's been making, yeah, I'm sure he's going to find a way to butcher it. So we're going to take either his knight goes to a bad square or his king goes to a bad square. So his king goes to a bad square, which lets our king in. He has some random check, but we're going to get a queen. There's also this check, and now we can cement it here and support the pawn. That's got to be winning. Yeah, this has to be winning. Okay, he goes that way, but then now he doesn't have this weird check. And we can get in our king easily. So here, here. Well, if we give this check, maybe we go here first. His king can't go forward or approach the pawn. Just trying to like zigzag him. Just give him really bad options every turn. Slow roll it in a way. So now we can improve our king. Maybe here. And now his knight is protected by the pawn. So if we push this and he takes our pawn, he hangs the knight. There's still no check because of our bishop. So now pushing threatens this, and this pawn. So he's moving his king around the board, but it can't actually move. So yeah, I knew he would butcher it once he got greedy and pushed that d pawn too far. Like I said, if you want to play for a win, don't play the French from the start, and then don't play the way he did the entire game, which screams draw the entire time. If we kick the knight, as opposed to taking the free pawn, we're further from the king, and it's a tempo move. So if he takes this, he can't stop the queen. If we go here and he goes to this side, I don't believe in that. If we take this, and he takes this, let's go for this one. How many of you guys would auto take the pawn? Which loses. If it goes to the side, you can still push. And his knight has to babysit. His king has to babysit this one. And then you can just scoop stuff with your king. So yeah, he goes to the side. Now his king can't approach because you promote the other one. Two pawns like this, you know, this far apart, called pants. The pants just run. So now we're just one square from promotion in both sections. So nothing he can really do. But wait. So guess we can get our king in this way. And if he ever takes the bishop, we just get a queen. So I'm going to hang my bishop as he doesn't have this fork check because the queen would come with check. I'll just make a nice waiting move that makes him move his king again, a zugzwang move, and now this puts him in zugzwang. His king is almost stalemated, but he does have a bunch of pawn moves, so it's not actually stalemate. You could also go here and support the other queening square. How long has that been there? Okay, it hasn't been there since we put our king there. So here, could we have done it? Maybe, but now we could definitely do it. His king's also not stalemated this way. We're threatening to queen, dominating his knight. And I'm glad it wasn't a draw. I don't like giving these players draws when they play like that. And he has 8 minutes on his clock. Proof that he should have thought instead of pushing his pawn automatically. Okay, I'm just going to redefend my queen pawn as I go here and hang my bishop yet again. And he resigns. Rematch offer, not in a million years, buddy. Not in a million years. So let's go through the game. He plays a French, but he plays a weird move order. I mean, g6 and getting the knight to f5 in the advanced French is a thing. So he's just like playing with the move order. And we just go center and development. Gaining space and preventing his knight from going to its favorite square. Center, development, and defense. Force move. Development and center. We have one blunder, no mistakes. Let's see what the blunder was. I mean, it was probably a missed opportunity based on the graph, as opposed to collapsing the position. So development and center. King safety and development. So the three moves here are king h1, which I considered, bishop e3, which I considered, and knight a4 best. So if you go bishop e3 and he takes your pawn, normally rook b1, but your knight's hanging. So here you have to go knight a4 to hit the queen and prevent it from going back. He has to not hang it somehow. And now you just kind of harass his queen and then go knight b6. I see. So that's possible. What about king h1? King h1, he takes, we take, he takes. And I know we don't have the tactic winning the queen because there's no check. So that's why I didn't go for this. They say you could just go rook f3. He'll have to go back. I don't really like that line. It's computerish. So whatever. Our move was best. Oops. Our move was best anyway. And now bishop e3, which is what we did. Development, center, defense. Knight c5 is best. So what about g4? Also playable, but knight c5 is best, followed by a3, another move we considered to stop him, and rook c1. So improving a piece somewhat for free. Okay, even trade, removing his active, well-placed knight and ruining his structure. And now a3, a3 or rook c1 makes sense. So we chose the slower of the two, but the position's locked, right? It's closed, so we have time for this. He kicks our knight, and we want to get the turn back, so this is just force move, let's say. And now again, you could go here, or you could go rook c1. Both of them are playable. We go again for the pawn option. Development to the only open file. And okay, the engine wants you to go for that plan I went for, but it wants you to do it pronto. But if we go here and he takes, I guess we just utilize the pin. Rook b1, what kind of move is that? Knight b3, utilizing the pin, and he can't defend. Okay, so tactically we could have put our correct plan into motion faster with a tactical justification, but instead we doubled our rooks first, which is also fine, and then we do it, the rerouting of the knight, clearly to its favorite square, because everything's locked. You now have to maneuver, right? It's a maneuvering battle. So we go here, trying to get to this beautiful outpost, and then we play the obvious move, and all of our pieces are kind of set up where they want. So just an even game. I'd rather be white. It is holdable by black because we don't have like avenues of infiltration really, but he could still mess up. He takes. You could go for the rook trade, or you could keep the rooks on the board, which I guess is less drawish, because you could take with the pawn, which is what we did, and get that connected passer set up. And then you can move your rooks over to, let's say, the g file and try to break and use your advantage. So if you trade all the rooks, you lose that potential extra resources of the g4 pawn break. So it's easier to draw for black. However, it's still playable, and you have to assume your opponent's not going to play perfectly, because who plays perfectly? He takes, we take. Now, it's just a draw-ish position, but we have this guy 3 squares, so he needs to be careful. He kind of has to babysit it. Oh, so this must have been my blunder. If this is a blunder that's +2, oh, queen a5, right? I mean, queen h5. Duh. Queen h5. Obvious move. Hitting everything. I think I looked at this and just auto blocked it. Oh my god. Terrible. Terrible. Easy winning move. I said this pawn would be weak in an endgame, but I auto moved. How much time did I spend here? It couldn't have been much. Where's the move times? Ooh. 10 seconds. That's bad. Okay. So we made a really bad move because queen h5 is obviously devastating. And the key is that this move doesn't matter. As mentioned in the game, it doesn't do anything, right? You go back and now it's just disconnected. Of course, you don't even have to, as you can include this winning stuff for free. So, and after you take his queen, he takes back, he'll hang the pawn. So yeah, clear obvious move that we missed. So we missed one move in the game. Fine. It happens. We go here instead, which goes back to equality because now everything's locked up and you can't go here with your queen because you just hang your bishop. Whoops. So we just kind of maneuver randomly. Take the queens off the board. It's entirely an even game. There is no way to make progress no matter what we do because there's no avenue for our king to get in. There's not enough open files, right? There's no space. We need a little more space to get in. So we just maneuver. It's all zeros until... See, even when he goes here, I said you can still technically hold as long as you don't take the bishop, right? You could still babysit the position. And I can't break through on the light squares because I have a dark square bishop. So we go for this pawn. We take it. And it's not a big deal. He just blockades the light square because we can never push. So I go for the pawn sec anyway because the only potential chance your opponent has to go wrong. He's supposed to take it and just maintain the blockade on the light squares, but he decides to go forward, and all of a sudden we're +7. So you see, very easy to go wrong in the endgame. And now it's just easy because his knight has to babysit this, but our king also has access. So even at the cost of this pawn now, like he should have taken it before, because let's say our king gets here, and then we push, and he takes. Well, now we get in, hit the knight. His knight goes somewhere, but then we scoop these pawns and promote. So, yeah, he just blundered, and nothing else he does now actually matters, because now we have freedom for our king, potential for the water to seep in. Slow improving moves. And when you have passed pawns, you should push them. We're plus 81. Okay, now it's switched to mate in 27. And hopefully you can see how this is just a bind that he can never do anything because he has to babysit. So we can move our king all around the board and eat everything, and he can't do anything. So, good game. One missed opportunity here because I wasn't paying attention. But that's what happens when you try to talk and play chess at the same time. So, good luck in your chess. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.